All right, so the first of many different commands we're going to see in this section is actually one we've seen before, git checkout. So when we learned how to first switch branches, I used git switch. That's what I showed you. It's the newer way of doing things, but the long-standing way of switching branches is using git checkout. But also, git checkout does a lot of other things. So in this video, I'm going to show you one of those other things. Just as a reminder, a lot of people think the git checkout command does too much, which is why new commands were added, including git switch and git restore, which we'll talk about later on in this section. Okay, so if we use git checkout, but rather than checking out a branch, we instead check out a particular commit hash, like I've done here. Remember, we can view these commit hashes using git log. If we run this command, git checkout, and then a commit hash, something quite peculiar happens. We're going to see this message that sounds very bad, detached head. You are in detached head state. You can look around, make experimental changes and commit them, and you can discard any commits you make in the state without impacting any branches by switching back to a branch. Okay. So first of all, that sounds horrible, detached head. It's not a bad thing. We'll talk about what exactly it means, but first I want to demonstrate this. So I'm going back to our first little repo, the Great Gatsby novel that I'm writing, my first novel. If you recall, we just have a single branch. I'm on master, so that's all that we have. And we have a bunch of commits. Let me do one line here. So we started with an outline, and then I did chapter 1, and then I split chapter 1 into two, chapter 1 and chapter 2. Then I renamed the character of Gatsby to Catsby, and then I added a mood board, and I did a bunch of other stuff. Well, let's say I want to go back in time to when, I don't know, what would a good place be? Maybe when I renamed Gatsby to Catsby. So I want to undo that, or at least I want to see what things looked like back then. Right now, in my files, there is no Gatsby. It's Catsby here. If I look at, the characters file, where are you? Here we are, J Catsby, chapter 1. If I did a search, we would find Catsby in here and not Gatsby. There we are. All right, so if I want to undo that, I want to go back in time. I can take this commit hash, which this is actually the abbreviated version. It's the first 7 digits for each one of these commits, and that's really all that git needs. But I could also provide the entire thing if I just did git log and didn't do the abbreviated versions. So I could scroll down and find this commit hash here, or just provide the first 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, and now I'm just going to make sure I don't have any changes on here. Okay, good. I'm going to go check out that commit hash, git checkout this old commit. And this is where I see that message. You are in detached head state. You can look around, blah, blah, blah. I already read that. So let me show you a couple of things. First of all, if I type git log, let me do one line. We only have, 5 commits that are showing up right now? Because I have jumped back in time. I've traveled back to this commit. I don't know how many commits ago it was, 6, 7, 8 commits ago. And there's only 5 commits at that point. This is where we are. Also, if I take a look at the files, well, I'm an idiot because I went back to the commit where we renamed to Catsby. I wanted to go back to the one before where we were still Gatsby. So we see Catsby is still everywhere. Okay, well, let's pick the commit before. So before we rename Gatsby to Catsby, I can go to this commit for F1B and do the same thing. Git checkout that commit. And I'm still in this detached head state. If I type git status, you can see head detached. And if I take a look now, Gatsby. Gatsby is all that we see. Do I have another example? Here's Gatsby. We don't have Catsby at all. If I type git log, now we only have 4 commits. Okay? So I've jumped back in time, but don't fear, I haven't lost all of the other work that I had on the master branch. So what is this detached head? Well, as we've learned earlier, but I'm just going to review, normally head points to a particular branch reference. Are you on master? Are you on bug fix or new feature, whatever branch you're on? Head points to the branch reference. And then the branch reference itself points to the tip of a branch, the most recent commit on a branch. So if I'm on the master branch, head points to master, and master points to some commit. If I make a new commit, master updates to point to that new commit, but head still points at master, right? Head is still just pointing at that branch. If I switch branches, I go to bug fix, head switches to bug fix, but head is still pointing to a branch. And that's really the main takeaway so far. Head usually refers to a particular branch reference. It does not refer to a commit. Head is not pointing at this commit or that commit. Head is referring to the branch that we're on, and the branch reference points to a commit. So now back to this detached head thing. Look at all those detached heads. I manually detached those just for this slide. Anyway, now when we check out an earlier commit, what we're doing is actually changing head to refer to a commit. So in this case, I'm just going back one commit. Head points directly at that commit, not at a branch reference. So it's kind of a weird state. It is not normal. It's not bad, but we can't always do the same things that we could do if we were on a branch. So we're not on a branch. We're just floating around. We're a detached head. So I can just quickly show you what this looks like. If you recall, I actually showed that we can look at head inside of this .git directory, which is where all the Git stuff is stored. We can look at head, and earlier, when I first showed this a couple sections ago, we saw something like, I think refs, heads, master, or oldies, or whatever branch we were on. But right now, I'm in detached head, and head is actually referring to a commit, the particular commit that I'm on, right? This commit. And that's abnormal. We're used to it pointing to an actual branch reference. Anyway, we are in detached head at this point. In the next video, I'm going to talk about what we can do here and why this could be useful. Okay? So right now, we've gone back in time, but we're kind of just floating around at some old commits. Next up, I'll talk about how we can branch off from here or undo things. So that's coming up.